I'm now joined here in the studio by Gil Murciano. He is the CEO of Mitvim, that's the Israeli Institute for Regional Foreign Policy. Gil, let me just quote here, to say that we are going to make Hamas disappear is to throw sand in people's eyes. How important is this statement coming from one of the Israeli military's most important spokespeople?
Indeed, quite a rare expression of protest coming from the professional level in Israel, from the IDF, in many ways expressing or reflecting a great frustration by the IDF. We are talking about the IDF reaching a certain level of military achievement when it comes to reducing Hamas military capability, but with a clear understanding that from now on, the real operation of defeating Hamas is more of a political, diplomatic a mission than a military mission altogether.
But many people have said that from the beginning. You cannot completely destroy Hamas, and yet the Israeli government and also the military has said, we will destroy Hamas. Doesn't all this come a bit late?
Well, I think that right now, when we're speaking about defeating Hamas, we need to speak specifically about the goal of basically removing Hamas as a governing unit in Gaza on the day after. And therefore, the major discussion is about an alternative, creating an alternative to Hamas. And this is a political discussion that mainly refers to the return of the PA. Now, the Israeli government, because of its own political limitation, has been unable or unwilling to even discuss the option. Netanyahu was talking about not replacing Hamastan with Fatahstan, with the movement that Abu Mazen is leading at the moment. But when we speak about defeating Hamas, there's also a very unique opportunity at the moment, because it's also about defeating the purposes of the 7th of October massacre by Hamas. And that was mainly about stopping Israeli-Saudi normalization. So the chance is there right now, but again, with the political paralysis on the current Israeli government hands, you cannot really move to the next phase. And I think that's mainly the goal of the Agari statement, to actually approach the Israeli public in order to create pressure on the political leadership to create any kind of a political directive for the day after.
So what has then this offensive in Gaza, this war in Gaza, what has it achieved? Well,
currently, I think that you can discuss the reduction of Hamas military capabilities. I think the last asset, from a military point of view, was to take over the Philadelphia line, the specific buffer zone separating Egypt and the Gaza Strip, the main site of smuggling of weapons. So the military, whatever the military could actually achieve to reduce the military force of Hamas, was achieved, but the military action has somewhat exhausted itself. And we also have to relate to the fact that everything that happens in Gaza right now connects to the major threat at the moment, or in the north, of a war between Hezbollah and between Israel.
Now, Hamas is more than just militants with guns. It also was the whole civic administration of the Gaza Strip. What's going to happen to that?
Well, I think there's a discussion today about differentiating or somewhat learning some lessons from the U.S. experience in Iraq and other places, and providing some kind of an amnesty to the civil servants, understanding that we are talking about governing units and separating the so-called suicidal wing of Sinwar from the civil servants and so on. But all of it is part of a reconstruction process that could only be initiated if it is connected to a broader political initiative. We spoke about who's going to govern Hamas in the day, govern Gaza in the day after instead of Hamas. We are talking about a multinational force, the involvement of regional actors. They won't come unless it's with Palestinian invitation. That's what we are hearing for them. So it's all in the end, this entire crucial reconstruction phase connects with a broader political initiative.
Now, you have called Israel's handling of the Palestinian issue a strategic asset for Iran. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, indeed. I think that, we always used to speak, especially in Israel, about which threat is more severe for Israel future, the Palestinian or the Iranian, and we were all wrong. They are interconnected. When we speak about areas of chaos, if we are not moving forward with reconstruction in Gaza, the great starvation and destruction that we see today in Gaza, the Iranians has excelled themselves, quote-unquote, in entering chaos. In Yemen, in Syria, in the civil war, in Iraq, and Gaza, in this situation, can provide them with the best conditions unless we create something else. And we also relate to the offer made by President Biden to build an alliance of moderates, mainly to contain Iranian growing regional influence that can only work, again, if we create some kind of a common ground on the Palestinian issue. So you see how those two topics are intertwined, and the current paralysis by the Israeli government serves the Iranian strategic goals altogether.
Thank you very much, Gil Murciano, there of the Israeli Institute for Regional Foreign Policies. Thank you for sharing your insights with us.